Going on? Happy New Year! New Year! New beginning! Same old Lee, but we're putting in a couple of new things here. Welcome everybody. You're checking out an all new The RCWR Show. It's the first RCWR show with Lee Sanders for the new calendar year of January the 6th. 2020. Man, it feels like I have been on a long extended break, and I actually have been because of the Christmas holiday, and it bleeded into the New Year's holiday coming up. So I am very well rested. I was able to catch up on not just a lot of rest, I was able to catch up on a lot of cool stuff around the house and everything. I know we did do a show for you guys last week, but if you really stop and think about it, normally we put out at least 2 shows, 3 to 4, sometimes 5 if they're doing a pay-per-view, they be in WWE or whatnot. But the past couple of weeks, we've just done 1 show and we've had a nice long extended break. So it's nice to essentially be back into the groove of things, as I'll give you guys the quick programming notes and all that later on during the show. But it's definitely great to be back. This episode that we're doing right now for January 6, 2020 officially marks year 8 of the RCWR show. Every November, we celebrate the anniversary of when I had launched this podcast. But I always look at the first week in January as me officially kicking off that, okay, here we are, we're officially embarking on, this is how many years we've got in the tank now, and as of this show, 8 years. Can you guys believe that? 8 years. Some of you guys have been with me through thick and thin, and I definitely appreciate that, with much love and with much respect. And yeah, look, we made some changes. Before we go any further into the show, we definitely made some changes. I think a lot of you guys will definitely notice it off the break. First off, I got to give a mad shout out to my man, Shaheen, over at Nuclear Heat Graphics. Those of you that's checking out the webcast version of this show, you guys, obviously, if you're used to checking out the shows weekly, you see that there is a new template that is laid out. That is what he had designed. I gave him some ideas on what I wanted, but he pretty much was just very loose with it and everything. And when you check out the audio version of the show, and I do want to address that for just a hot second, so just indulge me, but there's plenty of fun talk that we're going to be diving into on the episode. For people checking out the webcast, they kind of have an idea what we're going to be talking about, but those of you checking out the audio version, you guys will definitely love this. But people checking out the webcast version, and Austin, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, my friend. So webcast version, you guys can see the new template. But those of you that's checking out the audio version, or will be checking out the audio version of the show, there is a new show thumbnail logo and all that. If you're following me on social media, you would have seen earlier today the new logo. So we got a whole new boatload of stuff that's in the works. And then most importantly, and I do want to hear everybody's feedback, the sound should be drastically different for you guys as well. For Christmas, just to kind of talk about it one more time, and then I'm pretty much over and done with it. If I do bring it up, it's just going to be nonchalant for about 10 seconds or whatever. But over the Christmas holiday, my girl and my soon-to-be mother-in-law, they had took the liberty of hooking me up with a new mixer. And it was actually something that I was eyeballing. It was funny too, because in a nutshell, I was looking at an entirely different mixer. And I was going back and forth with my friend Don Tony from the Don Tony Kevin Castle show. And we've been going back and forth on technology stuff and everything. And long story short, he asked me about a particular mixer. And I had said, I know a little bit about that. That mixer, yada, 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 yada. It's good. That was me telling him in a nutshell. It's good. He ended up saying he was going to be getting that same mixer and another mixer. So I said to him, well, let me know what you think. And he told me what he thought about that mixer. He was like, you got to get it. If you want to take your podcasting to the next level, you want to take your shows to the next level, that's definitely what you need to get. So definitely go out of your way, get it. I highly recommend it. So I actually did do that. And so you guys can probably hear that as far as the sound goes, it is drastically different. But don't take my word for it. You know, I'm sure you guys that It's nice to hear from people that, once in a blue moon, they'll sporadically pop up and they'll be, hey, I'm still here. That's nice and everything. But I kind of gravitate more towards the people that like Austie, like Gino, like Justin, like Mish, like Sean. There are people that I see week in and week out. I'd be here all night going over the names, but you people know who you are that go out of your way every single week to check me out. I have more of a rapport with those people than those that just sporadically pop up here and there. So you kind of got to forgive me if I'm a little bit, and I don't want some people, what about me? It's like if you build a rapport with me and I keep seeing you weekly and everything, eventually I'll start acknowledging you, but I'm sure those of you that check out the shows weekly, you definitely can hear the sound difference and everything, but definitely let me know. You can share your feedback and all that. So that's where we are, and that's not the only thing we got as far as changes that's going to be happening in the coming weeks. Show content, Patreon is going to be affected as well. It's just a big old domino effect, but it's a domino effect of positivity. That much I can tell you without a shadow of doubt. So yeah, weeks was pretty good. It was really funny because I ended up going back to work today for the first time in a couple of weeks. And it was funny because I just fell off my game because I kind of got forced to take a little bit of time off because I had a lot of PTO saved up, and it was a case of, hey, won't you go ahead and use some of that PTO already? I'm like, well, yeah, but you got your wedding coming up. Go ahead, use some of that PTO. It's okay, really, use some of it already. So I actually did use some of it, and it was nice because it was nice getting the R&R and everything. But it was weird getting back into the groove of things because I've been show prepping since Sunday, and going into today, continuing show prepping, getting back into the swing of things, and then with work all day today. I kept writing down, and when I was making my appointments, I kept saying January 7th. I'm doing this all throughout the day. And about almost 8 hours after my shift is all over and done with, next thing you know, I have somebody say to me, hey, Lee, all day today, you've been writing Tuesday, January 7th, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what today is. Nah, brother, today's Monday, January 6th. What are you thinking about? Like, I have the slightest freaking clue, right? So I don't know. It's taking me a while. I'm getting back into the groove of things, but it was funny because as I was prepping for the show earlier today, it never clicked in my head. It's Monday. It didn't really dawn on my head until my coworker had pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh shit, it's actually Monday. Yeah, that's really freaking, that's crazy. Freddie, nice to hear from you, man. Happy New Year to you and the family. Glad you're okay, my friend. Yeah, definitely let me know what's been going on with you, man. Reach out to me if you're not going to be able to check out the rest of the live show, because I know you work hard, man. I know you working real fucking hard, man. But private message me. Let me know what's going on with you, man. Let me know what's going on with you. But yeah, it was weird getting back into the groove of fucking things, man. But yeah, anyway, so we got Monday Night Raw tonight. This was officially the first Raw of 2019 in my estimation, because last week I don't really look at that. Because that was like a holiday thing. So I'm not really homing in on that and going, okay, for me, it's okay. Let's see what WWE RAW has in store after New Year's, right? Let's see what they got in store for us then. And I got to tell you, you had a couple of bright spots on tonight's show, but overall it was mediocre. Now, don't take my word for it. Officially, we have a poll. Poll is out right now, asking you guys, what did you think about WWE RAW? We got 2 polls. Take your pick. Twitter at the RCWR Show. YouTube. Click on the Communities tab section, and you'll be able to vote that way. And it was so not that long ago I posted those. I'll come back to it right when we're getting done talking about Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, look, let's start with the positives. You went in strong. You bring up Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar kicking off your show there. that was a bit of a head scratching moment. I was happy to see Brock Lesnar again, but probably the main thing on my mind, as I'm sure that was on a lot of you all's minds, was what exactly is Brock Lesnar going to be dropping upon us? All right. What is going to be that carrot that's going to be hook, line, sinker? We got to check out the Royal Rumble. We got to, right? Because after all, the way that we have been built up as fans, right? Say what you will about the title reigns of Brock Lesnar. The one thing that's been hammered into us by the WWE over the years, whenever they've put Brock Lesnar in this type of a position, is Brock Lesnar sells. He draws the attention. Okay, all right, WWE, what do you got planned for us this go round with Lesnar? So to see that whole spiel come about where Brock Lesnar is trying to figure out who on the WWE roster is worthy of facing him at the Rumble, and the answer is nobody. Or if you want to take it a step further, what man currently on the roster is worthy enough to go toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar in the middle of the ring? Nobody, right? Okay, so this leads to, I guess it was a cool idea, but the more and more you kind of sit back and you marinate on it a little bit, you go, well, that's kind of a wet fart. Like, what's the deal here, right? So, to the point, Paul Heyman announces that Brock Lesnar has this blockbuster brainstorming type of an idea or whatever, which is Brock Lesnar will be at the Royal Rumble. He will be participating in the Royal Rumble as the number one entrant. Now, you hear that and you go, okay, what else? And that's just it. That is all it is. So we've got Lesnar coming out there, Heyman saying what he's saying, and we pretty much have to, oh, it's one of those type of deals. So, I'm looking at this, and I know, and I bet you $10 if I were to go on social media during that segment, there were so many people that were probably shitting on that. And I was so tempted to shit on this, but I actually took a step back and I said, rather than bitch and complain, how would this have been better executed? Or is it even possible that with a couple of more weeks to go, Lesnar's participation in this Rumble may be fine-tuned a little bit or whatever? Okay, so here we are again. We as fans, Royal Rumble time, we're accustomed to, hey, whoever wins the Rumble, they get their ticket to WrestleMania. They get to punch it in. They get a guaranteed spot in the main event of WrestleMania. They get to go for whatever championship they want to go for, right? That is the prestige. That is the honor of these Rumbles. So to see an instance right here where you have this Rumble and you hear Lesnar has entered it at number one, shout out to you, Philip. Happy New Year to you too, my friend. You're going, okay, so what's the deal? What exactly? Okay, so what happens if Brock Lesnar wins? Because remember, he is currently the Universal Champion, right? Okay, so, what I thought I was getting ready to hear, I'm not sure about you guys, but what I thought I was getting ready to hear was the announcement Brock Lesnar is going to be defending his Universal Championship against everybody in the Royal Rumble. I thought that's what I was going to hear. And if that would have been the announcement, I would have told you, hey, now that's damn innovative. That's fresh. Okay, I'm down with that. I will sink my teeth into that. Give it to me, right? But they didn't go in that direction, all right? So now you can't help but go, okay, well, since they didn't go in that direction, so what happens if he wins the Rumble? Then what? What happens then? What does that mean going into WrestleMania, right? So WWE has kind of put themselves in this very unique position here. And see, this kind of follows back to what I've been talking about off and on for the past couple of weeks, which is you need an authority figure. And there's been some people that have private messaged me or DM'd me, and we've kind of gone back and forth about this. And I've even talked about it with just a few coworkers, just a few, like two, max, that are wrestling fans as well. And they know I podcast and everything, and I'm into the wrestling, so they're picking my brain on, what the hell is going on. But to follow up on what I've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, this is cases like this in particular. You need an authority figure, right? Because all of these men and women that are on this roster, and it's Royal Rumble time, this is what they have been jockeying for. This is what they have been fighting for. For a lot of these people, this is potentially one of their last opportunities to try to get some type of storyline wise, to punch their ticket in to get a guaranteed spot on WrestleMania, because we're talking big paydays and all that other stuff, right? Again, storyline wise. So to be in this position where Lesnar's the number one entrant, and for now, his title is not on the line, you go, okay, so what happens if Lesnar wins? That's the question I immediately put out there. I didn't need to write anything down. Everything with this whole segment is just in my mind in real time, and it's just spilling out. And I'm going, okay, well, if Lesnar wins, then maybe he should be able to pick his WrestleMania opponent. Now, that kind of goes up to a little bit of a problem there, which is, okay, well, who's to say Brock Lesnar, what's to stop him from picking frickin' Hornswoggle to face at WrestleMania or whatever? And thus, once again, everything kind of falls back on this whole authority thing, an authority figure being needed, a commissioner, or like a William Regal or whatever, once in a blue moon or whatever, right? Or you have there be a particular case where in storyline, Paul Heyman reveals that per upper management, and the board, Brock Lesnar has to face somebody that is currently active on the WWE roster. He cannot go for, or something of that nature. But then there's another hiccup, because, okay, well, what's to stop him from picking Ricochet? Or what's to stop him from picking Humberto Carrillo, right? What's to stop him from picking No Way Jose, right? So thus, once again, you have this problem. Now, is it correctable? It is correctable. The way that you could kind of correct it, if Lesnar is the one that comes out on top, and basically, hey, you now have the choice. You can pick any opponent you want for WrestleMania for your championship. Unless it's a situation where he goes after Roman Reigns, which I really don't think everybody wants to see that matchup again. Although a lot of people have died down drastically about Roman Reigns. More people have come over to his side more. You don't hear unanimous boos like you used to, and it's gotten to that point you barely hear any boos at all, right? So is that something, remember what we've talked about off and on the past couple of months, it feels as though with regards to Roman Reigns, scenic route is what they're doing with him right now, and eventually they will have him get back into the main event picture. The championship will, eventually go back on his waist, right? Now, there's another way you can maneuver your way into this whole thing, right? If you want to do something totally unorthodox or whatever, right? Has anybody forgotten about Dio Madden? I mean, if I'm booking this Royal Rumble, I'm giving Dio Madden the fucking Maven rub. Remember that? Google or Bing Maven Royal Rumble. You guys will definitely know what I'm talking about. You younger, newer fans. But to the veteran fans, literally, there's your story arc right there. The last time we saw Dio frickin' Madden, he got owned by Brock Lesnar, right? And then you hear the stories that came out eventually, which was Dio Madden wanted to focus more on getting back into the ring. He really wanted to focus on being a wrestler, and so that's where he's going. And look, he's got a great freaking look. He's got great height. I can tell just by looking at the way he's built, because sadly, I didn't get to see any of his work prior to being the Raw color commentator briefly there. So, but he looks like he's pretty built, okay? So I'm thinking, hey, if you want to make things be full circle, at some point you can have Dio Madden come up in there, and Dio Madden can cause a freaking upset, and he can actually eliminate Brock Lesnar. You gotta live it, Brock Lesnar, right? Pissed off that some rookie was able to get the upper hand on him, right? Could probably beat him into a bloody pulp, eliminate him as well or whatever, but all right, there's your feud right there. Now, if you were to ask me, is that something that you have go into WrestleMania, Dio Madden taking on Lesnar for the championship? I'm sorry, I just don't see that happening. However, if you wanted to do a buffer match, because usually they have a buffer pay-per-view before WrestleMania, if you maybe want to have Dio Madden and Lesnar right then and there, you could do that. But then the other thing I'm thinking about is, okay, well, with regards to that Rumble, notice some of the things that Paul Heyman had said in setting up Lesnar, right? Hey, there's nobody, and he name dropped. Hey, there's nobody on Raw. There's nobody on SmackDown. There's nobody in NXT. Okay, well, I've yet to see Brock Lesnar cross paths with The Fiend. So, depending on what exactly happens with Bray Wyatt and The Miz at Rumble, assuming Wyatt comes out of that on top, does he maybe, so Lesnar thinks that there's nobody worthy of challenging him or whatever, huh? I mean, for me personally, a good WrestleMania card, The Fiend versus The Beast, championship on the line. If you want to do a unification, or if you want to do a double champion for a couple of months, right? And have that champion bounce on both brands, right? I totally would be down with that. I'm hoping that's the plan that WWE is strongly considering, but I do believe you need to somehow put both of those ideas that I just talked about, you somehow got to incorporate them. Now, if you don't want to go with Dio Madden eliminating Lesnar, then my question to you is, if not then, when? When do you have Dio Madden come back and try to extract some type of revenge on Lesnar, or are you not going to go there at all? And then, once again, the stuff with Bray Wyatt, I think that would be, I can picture the arena blowing up with The Fiend and the lights and all that go out, and then it comes back on, and there's The Fiend right there, toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, for the first time in, God, like forever in his entire career, has the look of fear in his eyes when he's looking at The Fiend or whatever. If you can somehow incorporate both of those, that would be really badass. If you don't want to have Dio Madden eliminate Brock Lesnar, and you actually want to save Lesnar for The Fiend, then there's a way that you can go about it, but still have Dio look pretty strong. Maybe you could have him get a couple of surprising eliminations. Maybe a couple of times you can set it up so that it looks as though he came pretty damn close to taking out Lesnar, but eventually Lesnar gets the one up on him again, right? But Dio not done with Lesnar, not by a long shot, right? So there's a couple of different angles you can go with that, but I hope WWE has something planned when it's all said and done. I really hope they have something planned, but I find it interesting that the line that was dropped there was nobody on SmackDown, nobody on Raw, nobody on NXT. Okay, so that's where we are, right? But interesting what's going on with that. They got a couple more weeks. I can't wait to see how they're going to fine tune this. But if you were to pick my brain and ask me what direction they should go with this, how I would book this. And again, this isn't, me trying to, if I were programming this show or the director, nothing like that. For me, like I said, I don't need to write this shit down. For me, it just instantly comes as I'm seeing it happen in real time. That's it. It's just spontaneous. That's just how my brain works. Some other key points about Raw for this week. We did see a good matchup between Andrade taking on Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. Looked as though at one point Rey Mysterio was walking out of there as a 3-time United States champion, but Andrade, his foot was on the ropes. Zelina Vega kind of pointed that out a little bit. Referee actually missed it the first time, but Zelina kind of hipped him to it. A little bit of a brain fart that the ref had, but eventually the match had got restarted. Zelina Vega, the X factor there in that one, helping Andrade come out once the match had restarted and everything. Thanks to her guidance, her skills, her talents, she was actually able to help Andrade retain. But the insult to injury, seeing Andrade rip off the mask of Rey Mysterio, love that. And then later on, you see backstage that whole beatdown that Ray gave to Andrade. I'm liking their program. I really am. It's got shades of Rey Mysterio. Oh, hang on a second here. No, let's pick a time. Windows is trying to do an update right now, so bear with me a second here, guys. Let's say 3 a.m. for the update, and we'll say tomorrow. Yeah, I usually, before I do the show, I usually like to come in during the final hour, and I usually like to check if there's any updates for anything. That way I can get it out then and there. And there's some Windows update, something 1099 or some stupid shit. It looks like a tax number or whatever. And it just now finished. I think I started downloading it at about 10:15. And the notification just popped up. So about damn time. But anyway, yeah, where were we? We were talking about, where were we? What were we talking about there before? Trying to think. Where were we? I got a brain fart there. We were talking about Lesnar, right? We were talking about that. Andrade and Ray. Yeah, Andrade and Ray. That reminded me so much of Ray and Alberto Del Rio. Also reminded me of Ray and Eddie Guerrero. So I'm liking what's going on with their program right now. And actually, those guys, they flow pretty damn good together. So I want to see more. I definitely want to see more of these guys. Give me a quick second here, because I accidentally, let's move that. And let's move that there. I accidentally deleted something. Bear with me, guys. Okay, we're good to go. All right, so Mojo Rawley ended up taking a peek at what Eric Rowan had covered up all of these weeks. His I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a pet. I don't know what it is, but I got to give Mojo Rawley a lot of freaking credit, because and the way they set up that backstage segment was golden, because you have Mojo Rawley, who kind of respectfully but with dominance gets in the way of Eric Rowan, but is respectful from this standpoint, because he says to Rowan, "Can I take a look at what you got under there? Can I take a peek? Please." But the key word, he said, please. And this was an opportunity where you're kind of looking at this as a fan, and you're going, Eric Rowan's probably going to give him a little bit of a sample, and then he's probably going to beat the shit out of him, right? But for whatever respected reason, I guess Eric Rowan has enough respect for Mojo that he goes, okay, but hey, you cannot tell anybody what's in here. And once Mojo takes that peek, the only thing that was missing was Mojo cursing and somebody just hitting the censor button. That would have been fucking phenomenal. I would have laughed my ass off if that would have went down. So now Mojo knows what the hell is in there. And here's a great opportunity where if you want to do something kind of fun and a bit colorful with Mojo Rawley, you could kind of do a freaking National Enquirer wants to know with Mojo. You could have freaking Renee Young. You can have freaking Charlie Caruso and just everybody, right? Every Tom, Dick, Harry, Tom Phillips, everybody. Get all the people together, and you can have them try to get the exclusives on, hey, you know, what was that? What did you see? You know, you jumped, you know, we forget sometimes, Mojo, that you actually used to play in the NFL. So, you know, you used to be a hard hitting and still are a hard hitting son of a bitch. So you've seen some things, right? You've seen some fellow teammates, break their limbs or whatever, right? They got injury setbacks and all that, and somehow they're able to tough it out. They're doing their rehab. They're able to come back, and yet what we saw you go through there, looking at what Raleigh had, looking at what Eric Rowan had in that cage, that really shook you to the core. It's funny how they did that, because it almost reminded me of the infamous, oh God, what was that character's name from the X-Men comic books, man? Onslaught. It almost reminded me of that. And if you guys remember your comics, you remember how when everything began with the Onslaught series, the miniseries, you had Juggernaut, who was whooped. I mean, Juggernaut got tore the fuck up. And, you're going through the pages, you're like, what the hell happened to Juggernaut? And Juggernaut is crying, and I mean, he's battered, and he's scared, right? He has these mystical powers and everything, where he's like this unstoppable freaking force of nature. And he is humble to his knees. And, the X-Men members, because if I remember it right, he's battered, bruised, and all that. I think he's like on the doorstep of the X-Men mansion or whatever, if I remember it right. I'm sure you guys will correct me. And like, who did this to you? Who did this to you? And like, he only says one fucking thing for like the entire fucking joint. He's like, Onslaught. And you're like, damn. And so, I don't know, I kind of thought a little bit about Mojo Rawley when I was watching him take a little peek, and it's like, wow, well, for him to get shaken to his core, it must be something disturbing in there, right? Like, what the hell? But then it got very comical in the same breath, because you have Rowan come out, and he's facing this guy that looks like a skinny ass, broke ass Mick Jagger. I mean, he's doing the whole little lip strut, and, only thing was missing was the freaking Keith Richards riff. Bam, bam, that's the only thing that was missing. And you go back, if you didn't watch Raw, go back and look at it. I mean, the guy is literally in the ring. He's moving. He's flapping his arms and shit. He's literally moving like freaking Mick Jagger. It was hilarious as hell, to the point I even put out a tweet. I said, I didn't know Mick Jagger was facing Eric Rowan tonight. Like, seriously, what the hell? It got very comical under the same breath there, right? Now you got the intrigue, and, now you're even more curious what the hell is going on. I'm still sticking to what I had said a couple of weeks ago. Remember what I said as far as what the end result is going to be. I think maybe somebody like Humberto Carrillo or maybe a Ricochet is possibly going to be the one to reveal, hey, this is what Eric Rowan has been pushing all this time. I'll tell you this much. The other thing that made it so comical too, the Mick Jagger dude that was facing Rowan tonight, is when Rowan squashes this guy in just a matter of seconds, but then he takes him head first, takes him over to his little caged whatever the hell is in there, right? For all we know, maybe it was the porno tape of Mitch. I don't know. It very well could have been, right? Maybe that's what scared this guy so much he bled tears, right? I don't know, but you see all this red that's in his face all of a sudden, and he's running up the ramp screaming, ladies, I love you, but he really was screaming like a girl. There was nothing masculine about how he, it was, it was, so go back and watch that if you didn't watch it. It was very comical. And I think those of you that did watch it tonight, you definitely would be in agreement with me. It was very comical tonight. See what else here. Next week, we get Randy Orton, who's going to be taking on AJ Styles one-on-one. That should be pretty good. Bill Belichick was back in attendance. I'm talking about Bill Belichick, the Reverend. He was back in attendance, whatever that was. But yeah, Lana, Lashley, they're back at it again. And look, even though me and a few of you guys don't particularly care for this segment when it's all said and done, and I was going to jump into this a little later with regards to that whole segment, that whole trio, but whether we like it or not, it is making WWE money on the social media platform. So much so, look, for all the stuff I be saying when I crap on, segments like this or whatever, I got to recognize the good as well. And WWE, they are making a killing off of these segments, man. To the point, check this out. WWE, it's being reported they're making at least 13 something million dollars off of YouTube each year. Now, while I take a drink here, just stop and think about that for a second. WWE is making a little bit over $13 million in YouTube revenue every single year. Think about their subscription base. As it stands right now, they've got like 52 point something million subscribers. That is more than the NFL, NBA, a couple of other people like freaking combined or whatever on YouTube, right? So to be able to rack in that type of money, that is pretty damn good. And not for nothing. I'm not trying to justify what we've been getting. I'm not. But just hear me out as far as, hey, there is, believe it or not, some type of good that's coming from this, right? When that wedding had dropped between Lana, Lashley, and all that other jazz, it had got, I believe it was, 1 point something million in like less than 24 hours. And where it stands right now, I the last time I checked was probably, I would say, late yesterday. So I actually did not check today. But last I had saw, it was close to cracking 5 million, right? So just think about that. That wedding segment, once it was uploaded to WWE's YouTube channel, after it aired initially on Raw in its entirety, less than 24 hours, right? All right, so you go to sleep, you wake up, and they've pretty much hit like freaking million or whatever. You're like, wow, that's insane. And now they're almost at 5 million, right? So this definitely matches up as far as the numbers go and everything. I mean, that's pretty freaking impressive. Yeah, the official number, it drew 1.5 million in less than 24 hours. And then the last track, it was at 4.267 million. That's freaking impressive. It's freaking impressive, man. It really is. It really is. So, hey, look, I always say at the end of the day, if it don't make dollars, it don't make that sense. And I don't mean the CENTS. I'm talking about that common sense, right? All right, don't make dollars. It don't make that common sense as far as I'm concerned. So, I didn't particularly care for what was going down tonight, but we pretty much had a setup for next week, which is going to see Rusev take on Bobby Lashley. I don't know if this is going to be it once and for all. Your guess is as good as mine. Probably not. They're probably going to do something at the Rumble or whatever, right? But officially, the couple was married tonight by Bill Belichick, right? So, look, I will say this. Lana, I'm coming around. I know I was pretty harsh of her over the years. I know for a fact that some of my criticism about her on the show got back to her because she ended up blocking the RCWR show on Twitter. And, hey, I always say it's nothing personal when I'm talking about some of these superstars, when I'm talking about some of these angles or whatever. I try to do my best to offer ways of improvement and go from there, and I give praise where it's needed. And I'm telling you, it was very rough at first when this whole saga began with this trio, but she's really coming around. It's like a light bulb finally went off in her head. I don't know if maybe somebody like a Paul Heyman or maybe a Miz has been helping her and saying, hey, look, talk to yourself in the mirror, cut your promos and all this other stuff. And, maybe you got some of her friends that's, maybe heckling her in the background as she's continuing to just stay in character and go with the flow. I don't know what it is as far as the input that she's being given. And it's really interesting because, so many people are asking Lashley and Lana the wrong questions as far as, oh, so you talk about getting hateful emails, you talk about receiving, hate speech, emails, letters, threats and everything like that. But, how about where it counts the most, which is Lashley has been coming out of this starting to look pretty good. Lana is starting to come out of this as a more defined, in sync character and everything. Rusev, of all people, what looked like, my God, this is career fucking suicide for this man. He's starting to look like $1 million freaking now. So, we may not like it. But it is what it is. And am I warming up a little bit? A little bit. Not enough to the point I'm liking this. I'm still not at that point. I can't fully commit to that point just yet. One other note, and again, just bullet points. This isn't a Raw recap. We're not doing a full Raw recap. We'll talk about the bullet points, and that's pretty much it. Biggest tease of the night was Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. They had a mystery partner that was going to be teaming up with them to face Seth Rollins and the AOP in the main event match of Monday Night Raw. So we got the teases of it throughout the night. At one point, Charlie is following them because KO insists on knowing who the mystery partner is, because he kind of feels as though, hey man, come on, we really need that third person to be somebody we know is definitely going to be carrying their weight. This has to be somebody that, man, come on now, we gotta make sure these odds are evened up. And Samoa Joe keeps telling him, dude, we good. Trust me, we good. And finally, KO's like, can I see this person? And Joe's like, if it will soothe you, if it'll put you at ease, tag along with me. I'll show you this cat. And so they went, and somewhere, this is where I was thrown off a little bit too, because when Kevin Owens was standing by and Samoa Joe opened up this door, it was a black door, and when he opens it up, it's pitch black inside. So immediately I'm going, is it possible it's Kane? Is it possible maybe it's Undertaker? Right? Like what are we doing here? I was thinking it was going to be one of those type of marquee names, right? And Charlie, her cute little self, trying to get the scoop. They don't give it to her. It's like, hey, you'll know like everybody else. So we get to the main event match, and it turns out that it's Big Show. So, all right, Big Show returns, yay or nay, right? Now, if you're going to put me to the fire and ask me, where am I on this one? I'm going to say yay from this standpoint. We all remember the infamous, what was it? The Stone Cold podcast. And Big Show had appeared on it, and all of us ended up having newfound respect for Big Show. We ended up respecting this dude a lot more. A lot of us walked away going, man, this is a guy that, wow, can really connect with the Paul White character or whatever, right? We really connect with the man behind the Big Show character. All right, this is pretty cool, right? Now, I know, and all due respect to him, I know that my man JTG, he, without being blatant about it, he had some unkind, unflattering things to say about Big Show. Now, is it a case, and for those of you that need to get caught up to speed, check out the first 2 volumes. Damn, why did I write this book? Is it possible that people can change? Yeah, it's very well possible that people can change. Maybe Big Show really does have a different mindset and all that now, to the point when you go and you check out that last WWE special that they did on the Big Show. And I would highly recommend everybody to check it out. It's a short joint. It runs about maybe 25 minutes long, right? And it deals with Big Show. He's going through this intense, grueling rehab to try to get back to 100% because he still wants to contribute to the WWE. Now, when you hear that, you're going, what the hell? This guy has been wrestling for how many decades? Why does this man want to continue to wrestle? What the hell? And you learn, it's a great companion piece to the Stone Cold podcast interview, right? As you really learn from both of those, and it's even more intensified during that WWE special there, the 25-minute special, that all Big Show wants to do is give back to the business. He can't think of anything else that he wants to do. Yeah, he's got some nice side projects that's going on. A couple of things come his way as far as a TV role, maybe a movie role, cameo here and there, but he wants to be in the ring because he feels he can still contribute. But he also realizes that Father Time isn't exactly on his side, and that what he's really interested in doing is basically paying it forward. You know, he's all about trying to help elevate other cats. He's trying to help elevate the younger folks on the roster and everything. You know, so, you know, you're kind of keeping that in mind. And the way that that special ended with Big Show, it basically was, okay, he's cleared. He was able to successfully pass WWE's, their doctor's test. He was able to pass all of those with flying colors. And the way it ended was Big Show is still waiting on the green light to return. You know, he's just at this point waiting for whatever creative has for him. And, you know, it was kind of sad that it ended like that. But, you know, but when it ended like that, you're kind of going, damn, well, that was kind of, you know, what the fuck? So give me a second here, guys. I'm trying to see if I can mute a notification because I keep getting a Facebook notification. And I'm hoping that maybe I can snooze it for a little bit here. Hang on real quick. Let me see if I can. I should be able to. Let me see. Yes, turn off notifications for this post. Thank you. But anyway, yeah, so now here's where it gets interesting. Next week on Raw, they're talking about it's going to be Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and another mystery partner taking on Seth Rollins, AOP. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think they said it was going to be a fist fight or something like that next week between those guys. So, and you've got Jerry Lawler in the background. What the hell is a fist fight? You know, what's the rules for that? Well, Jerry, I can only imagine, my friend. I can only imagine. Oh my God. Ivar and the other dude, they did retain the Viking Raiders. They did retain their tag titles in that triple threat match, by the way. I do want to mention that. However, probably what was really, really bad about that match, I don't know what was going on with Ivar. I don't know if it was a case where he wiped his ass the wrong way, but he had a massive, it looked like shit that was right up under his leg and ass cheek. Yeah, I mean, it literally looked like the man shit himself. I mean, don't take my word for it. I know there's a few people that had shared some of the images online. And shout out to Gift Skull on Twitter. If Gift Skull has not done it yet, I have a feeling Gift Skull is going to be showing that section of the match in question. But yeah, it literally looks like something went wrong with Ivar. I don't know. I don't know if he had a case of one too many tacos and tequila or what, but one other thing I do want to touch upon before we get ready to wrap up the talk of Monday Night Raw, and I'll have to ask you guys very candidly on this one, which is, can we all be in agreement that Sarah Logan, it just ain't working? Look, man, I've got nothing personal against anybody, whether it's WWE, AEW, New Japan. I don't care what promotion you work for. It's nothing personal. When I am giving criticism, it's never personal because at the end of the day, I don't know these people. Now, I'm connected with enough people to know how, on a personal level, how some of these people are. And I hear nothing but good things about some people and everything. But can we be in agreement that with regards to Sarah Logan, I mean, this is the question I ask. First off, how long has she been on the roster, on the main WWE roster, right? Add that up. And then can you name for me at least 5 career defining moments, match wise, since she's been on the main roster, where you said, wow, that was a great fucking match she had against ... My point, there are so many talented women that WWE has. It's not even funny. And I know that this new era of WWE, they're trying to do their very best to keep families together, couples and all that. I respect the hell out of that. I really, really do. But there comes a point in time where, okay, seriously, what are we doing here? You know, what are we really doing here? I know that not everybody can get that guaranteed push to a championship, right? Whether it's a world heavyweight, an intercontinental, a US tag, or even the 24/7, right? I know not everybody is going to be able to become a champion. There are going to be some people that are going to be enhancement talent, right? But in the case of an individual like a Sarah Logan, I can't even look at Homegirl as enhancement talent. I can't even look at her like that. I just look at her and I just go, man, you know, she's a dime a dozen of girls that I've seen on the local indies that decide, yeah, for a weekend or two, I call myself a wrestler, but the other 85% of the time, you can find me working at Red Lobster, or you can find me working at the library or some shit like that, right? I'm at that point where it's, okay, Chelsea Green, yeah, you know what? Bring Homegirl on back. She was pretty good. Bring her on back. Deanna Bizarro, yeah. Bring her on back. You know, nothing wrong with that. Bring her on back. I'm looking at, I would rather those individuals be enhancement talents than, you know, it's weird. It's really weird because I can remember being a kid growing up. And when I used to watch somebody like the Brooklyn Brawler, I remember as a kid going, I don't care for this, man. Beat the holy crap out of him. But then as I got older, you know, I kind of realized, probably definitely by the time I would say 14, 15, I kind of realized that Brooklyn Brawler was like that measuring stick. It was kind of like, okay, if you can get past Brooklyn Brawler, you're okay, right? Because Brooklyn Brawler, he can pretty much make or break you, right? And so I ended up having more respect for Brooklyn Brawler. And I was ecstatic as hell that one infamous night of Monday Night Raw when he pulled the shocking upset. I won't spoil it for you guys, but it's good fun trivia to know, right? But I'm going, okay, you know. So I look at somebody like a Sarah Logan and I can't even see enhancement talent. And I'm just wondering, you know, why not do something that's more beneficial and pair her up with the Viking Raiders, which makes a lot of sense and all, with her husband being in there and all, but it does nothing for me. Does nothing for me what's going on, you know. And to her credit, she lost a dramatic amount of weight. She toned up and everything. I'm happy for her. I'm glad that she decided she wanted to change herself on the inside and all that. But as far as a personality goes, there's nothing I can connect to. Right? And it's damn sad, especially from when you know that there are other women on that roster that are more deserving of being put in that position. So kind of makes things a bit interesting as far as post WrestleMania, right? Because you know it's coming. There's going to be that Black Monday, Black Tuesday, whatever you want to call it. That time is going to come when there's going to be a boatload of releases, and you can't help but wonder, is she going to be saved or is she going to be cut? Only time is going to tell, man. But I tell you what, if I got to compare her to someone like a Dana Brooke, I would like to believe Dana Brooke is safe. Just saying, man. Just saying. Hey, I want to get into some shout outs. I don't really have anything much else I want to talk about with regards to Raw, but let's go to that poll. I did tell you guys there was a poll that I had put up. We got 2 polls asking you guys, what did you think about Monday's WWE Raw? We got 1 poll up on Twitter, so you can head on over there. And then we also got the poll on YouTube. You can head over there, youtube.com/RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab and you'll be able to see it that way. You don't need to spam out and vote on both, just whatever is more convenient for you. Go check that out. And then let's see what we got here on YouTube. I got that loading up as we speak. Let's see where we are here. There we go. All right, so still kind of early. Right now, I'm seeing 71% of you are giving Monday's Raw a thumbs down. 29% of you are giving it a thumbs up. Keep the votes coming in. Still pretty early. And let's see, on Twitter, let's see how this is looking. Twitter, I am seeing, interesting, 48% of you are giving it a thumbs down, while 52% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So very interesting. You know, YouTube, it looks like it's still kind of early, but the Twitter looks like we're getting more of a better gauge. Hey, I want to get into some shout outs. I do want to shout out some sponsors. We got a couple of cats that's joining us for this week's episode of the RCWR Show. First off, I want to give a shout out to nailsoft.com. If you need a website, logo, or media marketing, hire the professional web development and graphic experts at Nailsoft. With this radio deal, Nailsoft will design a logo for your business and a prototype website with your logo for free. You heard me right, for free. Ask for Fennell. He's the CEO and founder of Nailsoft, and tell him the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders had sent you. Nailsoft is a web development and business consulting company based out in the United States. They're based out in Miami, Florida, and they are specialized in logo, graphic design, animation, CGI, web, mobile app development, artificial intelligence, media marketing, and more. Check them out, nailsoft.com. That's nail, like almost kind of, you're saying NATO, but it's Nailsoft. So NAOSS, 2 S's are in there, OFT.com, nailsoft.com. Nailsoft, where technology, creativity, and innovation are light years ahead of the competition. Appreciate them for being a sponsor of tonight's episode of the RCWR Show. Also, we are brought to you in part by, bear with me a second here. We are also brought to you in part by our good friends over at watchshopus.com. Again, watchshopus.com. This is the place to go to if you need watches, jewelry, earrings, stuff for him, maybe stuff for her. Great website. We are talking premium brand name items, right? At great prices. This ain't no counterfeit bootleg crap. It's the real deal. You have an opportunity to get yourself a little bit of a discount for a limited time when you head over there to their website. So they always got different type of promotional deals, discount deals that's going on. I know some of you guys are like, Lee, I'm good, man. I just had Christmas, dog. Well, to that I say true, but you know you got Valentine's right around the corner, right? So you always got to be, hell, maybe there's a birthday coming up. You never know. So check them out. Appreciate them being on board again. They are watchshopus.com. Appreciate them. Also, check out my man, Go Beats Mode. Sounds like I'm saying Go Beast Mode, like beasts, like altered beasts, but no, I'm saying beats, like the headphones. Check out Go Beats Mode. They got a great YouTube channel at youtube.com/C/Go Beats Mode. Check them out. They're on Twitter and Instagram as well. But they mainly want for you guys to show them some love on their YouTube channel. If you need some really cool, sick ass instrumental beats, I love fucking around with instrumental beats. Definitely check him out. He is good. And as a matter of fact, I got a link in the chat. And for those of you checking out the audio on demand and on the downloads, don't worry about it. I have everything in the episode description, right? But for those of you checking out the webcast version, I just posted the link in the chat. You guys can go check him out. Make some really great beats. Check him out when you get a chance. And also, shout out to the BenjaminShop.com. Again, the BenjaminShop.com. BenjaminShop.com is a accessory store and more. They carry the latest in fashion accessories for men, women, children, travel, home, and more. Check them out. The BenjaminShop.com. Check them out. Great stuff as well. A couple of more shout outs I want to get into, and then we'll get into some Patreon shout outs later on in the show. So I do have more shout outs, but we'll end it on our sponsors for now. That way you guys don't have to sit through all of this, because I don't want it to be, that is one New Year's resolution I had made, because there's actually some of the shows I had played back from previous weeks. And I kind of felt that some of the spots we were running for plugs ran just a little bit too long there. 1 second here. I do want to shout out the good people over at leafyassets.com. If you're a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Also, shout out to the guys behind President Evil. Check out the movie on Amazon. You can see the trailer over there as well. Shout out to almosttwins.com. They make it easy for regular dudes to buy thoughtful gifts that are guaranteed to put a smile on his or her face. Almosttwins.com even allows you to personalize your gifts and make it 10 times as thoughtful. Go to awesometwins.com, pick a design and a size. They'll handle the rest. Doesn't get any easier than that. Check them out, almosttwins.com. Appreciate them. Love checking out our sponsors. And for those of you that want to maybe get a better idea of the names of some of those guys, so you can try to do a Bing Google search on them and everything. If you're checking out the webcast version, you can see our premium sponsors that we love mentioning every single week. Got a lot of love and respect for them. And as far as shout outs go, that is it for now. We've pretty much covered everybody. All right, so I'll get into the Patreon shout outs in just a little bit. So for now, we got some more stuff that we can definitely get into on the show here. Probably something that's been a recurring theme that I've seen off and on over the past couple of months is we've got people that are under the impression that I am part of the YWC, I guess that's what it's called, which is the YouTube wrestling community or something like that. And I've heard a few people that have mentioned me from time to time, whether it's in the form of, look out Lee Sanders or some shit like that. And it's funny because, and I'm not saying this to sound arrogant in any type of way. I'm not saying this to sound like a dick in any type of way. So I don't want anybody to misconstrue this, but I am not concerned about what anybody else is doing on whatever the platform is, be it Spreaker, be it YouTube, be it Discord, be it insert here. I'm not concerned what everybody else is doing. To the point, I don't go out of my way on YouTube and see what's going on. I'm mainly focused on what I'm doing. Now, at the same time, I show love and respect to those who I consider friends, who I consider familiar, that happen to do podcasts as well. And I show them a lot of love. I promote the hell out of them every chance that I get, whether it's my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas, John Draper, and Joy Numbers over at Wrestling Soup, or I promote Don Tony, or I show even Jason Solomon, Solo Monster, love. I give that love where I give it. If I feel that there is a podcast that you guys need to know about. I do my best to bring it to your attention, especially if I felt it was very noteworthy. The quality was on point and everything. I know there's been times I've promoted Vince Russo, Truth with Consequences. I've promoted Matt Coon. I've promoted his Total Engagement podcast and everything. So it's not a case where I've got some type of an ego issue and, oh, don't mention these other shows because, no, it's, I mention them because I got a lot of respect for them. And if I also mention them, it's because I'm friends with them or I'm at least associates with them to a certain degree. So this whole misconception about me and the YWC, let me tell you something. And this is what makes me very different from the other guys that do what they do on YouTube, which is just pretty much full-blown recap shows. Let me tell you something. A lot of the people that do the stuff that they do on YouTube, they are obsessed with the monetary status of YouTube. They see what other people are doing and it consumes them so much that they think that, hey, that should be me. I should have those numbers. I should be pulling in YouTube money. And, probably the biggest misconception that happens from those that do their stuff on YouTube is, there's this magical fucking aura that because you're doing stuff on YouTube that you are this bona fide celebrity and you're bringing in buku money, and that's not the case. Hard work, dedication, and then even at that, don't quit your fucking day job, right? And sadly, if YouTube were to change their policies in such a way where they make it much harder for people to do content on here. If YouTube were to, hey, mom and pop channels that has blah, 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 less subscribers, views, blah, 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 no monetization for you, you would see some of your favorite cats disappear. Because their whole thing is, well, if I can't make $1 off of this, why the fuck should I do this? And then that's the wrong mentality to have. So I have always looked at YouTube, and anybody that's been a long time listener knows this. We started off as strictly audio. We were straight up a true internet radio show. We still are a internet radio show. It's just the way I choose to syndicate the show. YouTube is an option. That's how I look at it. It's an option. So please, I say to you guys, I'm flattered that some of you guys would want to group me in the whole YouTube community, but I will tell anybody that is a aspiring podcaster any day of the week, do not look at YouTube as your main source of revenue. Do not look at YouTube as your main source of media outlet. Ask yourself, what do you hope to gain? Are you trying to be a brand? Are you trying to be your own entrepreneur? What is your goal exactly that you're trying to set forth in what you're trying to do and how you're trying to go about it? What exactly is your goal in using a platform like YouTube? Are you gung-ho about the money? Is it about subscriptions? What do you really hope to gain? What do you really hope to accomplish? That would be my message to anybody that is a aspiring podcaster. We've got so many people though that have this big misconception that, and it's sometimes it's flattering, but when you don't really know, because you haven't really educated yourself, you do a lot of assumptions. And I always say, when you do a lot of assumptions, you can sometimes make an ass out of yourself unintentionally. And I want to stress that, unintentionally. So I'm flattered by those of you that want to group me with the YWC or whatever it's called, but I'm not associated with that in any type of way. To the point, again, if YouTube were to end tomorrow, I will be fine. I'll be continuing to do my show on the platforms that I've been doing it on for the past 8 years, while others that strictly just rely on YouTube would be struggling like a motherfucker because it would be, well, if I can't make money off of this, why the fuck am I doing this? That would be it in a nutshell. That would be it in a nutshell. So interesting, crazy week that we've had. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. Going into 2020, I kind of said to myself, you know, one of the things that I missed over the past couple of months was we got so engulfed with the talk of wrestling. I love talking wrestling, but I also love the non-wrestling topics. So I said, coming back, doing the show again in 2020, that I definitely wanted to do more non-wrestling related stuff. And as long as it just fits the overall tone and the groove of the show and everything. I do have some wrestling topics we're going to get into in a little bit, but I do have some non-wrestling related stuff I kind of wanted to talk about. One of those things being the crazy season that we've had so far in the NFL. I'm not being long and drawn out about the NFL, but I mean, like many of you that are into football, I was watching those NFL games over the weekend, and I got to tell you, stunned would be an understatement. If you'd have told me Monday, without seeing any of the games over the weekend, that Lee, come Monday, ain't no Tom Brady and the Patriots, ain't no Drew Brees and the Saints, I would say to you, what happened? Did they get injured? Like, seriously, what happened? Those were some wild ass games that we had over the weekend. It really, really was. And look, man, I know we have a lot of people that don't feel sorry about the Patriots, right? And it's funny because I was talking to, once again, my coworker Marcus, and shout out to him. I was talking to him about this earlier today. And yeah, I told him, I said, look, I've been watching the Patriots at least almost 20 years, at least, right? Feels like it. For sure 15. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 20 though. And I told him, I said, you know, for me, that is one hell of an accomplishment that Tom Brady was able to do. When you just look at overall his resume and what he's been able to do in the past 20 years. Yeah, that's Hall of Fame worthy, what that man has been able to do. And you ain't going to be able to take that away from him. You know, all those Super Bowl appearances. I mean, look at this. 6-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time NFL MVP, 14-time Pro Bowl, 3-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team All-Pro, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, 4-time NFL passing touchdown leader, 3-time NFL passing yard leader, 2-time NFL passer rating leader, NFL completion percentage leader, Associated Press Male Athlete of the Year, Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. I mean, and the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. This is one of the most clutch players I have seen across all the sports, right? And so he's got my respect for everything that he's done. 42 years of age. I can tell you, as the fan for almost 20 years that has been watching Tom Brady, I can tell you what I saw of him this season. I saw he was deteriorating just a little bit. But at the same time, the options as far as weapons on offense, he really did not have that many. You know, Julian Edelman, God, inconsistent like a mofo, man. Inconsistent like a mofo. And I can understand why Tom Brady was so excited when, oh my God, I got Antonio Brown. Holy shit, I got a serious weapon here. And I've heard everybody say, well, look, man, not for nothing, but when he won the Super Bowl last year, he didn't have Gronk. So, you know, I don't understand. Like, you know, he doesn't have Gronk, and here he is this season, you know, okay. You know, he had limited weapons last year. You know, he's able to make the most out of. But that's the thing. From what I've seen as a fan, he has deteriorated a bit. If you were to maybe take a Tom Brady from 3 to 5 years ago, I think as far as the mobility goes, escaping the pocket, avoiding the contacts, the scramble and all that, I think a Tom Brady from 3 to 5 years ago would hold up pretty damn well today. I think potentially Tom Brady would have advanced. I've seen some instances where this season it looked as though that arm strength, right, doesn't really look like it's that good. Either it's way short. Man, you were way off. Who the hell were you throwing that to, right? We saw him get a couple of picks this season. But then on the other hand, it's, what's going on with the weapons. And when it comes right down to the heart of the matter, this man has been taking discounts after discounts after discounts over the years. And you would think that with all of that money, hey, Tom's giving us a discount. Great. You would think with all of that money, okay, now let's go get but they didn't. They had some good players at some points and they decided, we'll just give those away. Well, what kind of picks do we want? What numbers are we asking? We're good. We'll be all right. So for him to be in the position that he's in now, where after 20 years, he's a free agent, he can decide where he wants to go. Your guess is as good as mine where he's going to go. I mean, look, he's got a home out there in San Diego or whatever, or Los Angeles. And hey, Chargers, it sounds good. It sounds damn good. But you know what? Daniel Snyder, owner of the Washington Redskins, he's done it before. Look, he got Donovan McNabb over here. You don't count him out. Because this man has been trying to do everything in his power to buy himself a goddamn Super Bowl championship. So you can't really put it past him to even try to enter having some type of discussions with Tom Brady or whatever. But your guess is as good as mine what's going to happen with Brady. I can tell you this much. Bill Belichick. I think everything comes down to Bill Belichick. We saw what happened before when it came to Garoppolo. Bill Belichick, he really wanted to go with Garoppolo, but Bob Kraft stepped in. It was like the one time that Kraft used his trump card and said, hey, I know I give you the keys to the car and let you drive it wherever you want to drive it, but this is one instance where I got to step in and I got to go, yeah, we're not doing that. We're going to stick with Tom, right? And we saw how that kind of ended up. What would have happened had Garoppolo stayed with Belichick? Belichick's whole system and everything with the Patriot organization, we don't know. It's kind of one of those what if things, right? It's no different than what would have happened if Belichick would have been able to tag along to Baltimore, right? Remember when the 95 Cleveland Browns came to an end and everything? It's kind of like one of those type of deals. Like you just never really will know. So to be in this position now where, anybody that is a football fan, if you did not check out the interview transcript of what Robert Kraft had said to Peter King, insightful, very eye-opening, and it just makes you have a lot of respect for Kraft even more, right? But Kraft has already let it be known, hey, I want him to come back. I hope that as far as his future goes, we are incorporated in it somehow, because I either want to see him play with us again or he retires, right? I would like to imagine he would be heartbroken, because it's like, it's like almost like a father-son relationship, so to speak. So I would imagine his heart would be fucking crushed if Brady went to go play for somebody else. But yeah, Brady has already indicated that as far as him retiring, highly doubtful. So now it's just a matter of what's going to happen. But as far as whether or not he's going to be able to play for the Patriots, I think that depends on Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick may say to Rob Kraft, look, I knew this was going to happen. I saw the writing on the wall a couple of years ago, and that's why I wanted to keep Jimmy G, but you stepped in. And now here we are. We don't really have a true successor to the throne. And you want me to keep working with this guy for another 2-3 years? No. I can see Belichick going, it's either him or it's me. If you're gonna needle in my affairs where I have total control over the contracts, who stays, who goes, and all of that, and you're gonna put me in this position, then it's either Brady or it's me. So, but I honestly, I can see 3 more years out of Brady. If he's got a really good offensive line, I'm not tripping so much on defense, right? For me, I do care about defense, but I'm more concerned about the offense because Father Time always wins, right? And then, not to mention, just staying with the talk of NFL, I was talking about Washington earlier, right? This is my first time talking about this since it went down. Ron Rivera, he's the new Washington Redskins head coach, right? So, I mean, this is a great fucking move, right? A great fucking move. I'm glad that they got rid of that shitty ass general manager, Bruce Allen. I couldn't stand his fucking ass. It seemed like every time you turn around, stupid shit was always going on. And for me, couldn't stand Bruce Allen. So I'm glad they finally got rid of his ass. But now you got the main question that's at hand, which is, okay, so who's going to be the offensive coordinator for Washington? Because you need somebody that's really, really good, that's going to be able to successfully mold, groom the hell out of Dwayne Haskins. So you got rumblings that Ron Rivera, he's trying to see if maybe Josh McDaniels from New England Patriots, their coordinator, they're trying to see if, depending on what's going on with him, if he maybe would be interested in coming to Washington. That's kind of a long shot because everybody's trying to talk to him for a head coaching position. So, and hopefully, I have a feeling he's going to do right this go round. I know he was supposed to be announced as the Indianapolis head coach, but he got wet feet or whatever. But the fact that everybody is knocking on his door this go round, that says to me that everybody forgives him for what went down a couple of years prior, right? But you got Ron Rivera. He managed to get a hold of Jack Del Rio as his defensive coordinator. So, I mean, that's a great fucking pickup as well. ESPN is reporting that Panthers linebackers coach Steve Russ is going to be joining Rivera's staff as well. You've got another report adding that Carolina's wide receivers coach Jim Holsler and offensive line coach John Matsko are probably going to be coming in as well to help round out all of that. And then lastly, the Los Angeles Chargers assistant defensive back coach Chris Harris is being considered for Rivera's secondary coach as well. So, I mean, you got, what's going on there with Ron Rivera in Washington. He is going in and he is doing the damn thing. And the vibe so far, being here in Washington, it feels very optimistic. You ask any fans, and they're pretty much saying the same thing, which is, look, this is great that Daniel Snyder has made the moves that he's made, but, how much leeway is Ron Rivera going to have? Is Daniel Snyder really going to take a step back and go, okay, this is all you. You do what you need to do, and you've got our full backing. Whatever you feel needs to be done. We are not going to meddle in any type of way, go out there. The only other thing I'm really concerned about right now is who's going to be the new general manager for the Redskins, and how much of a ass kisser is this person going to be to Daniel Snyder. But at the same time, how much are they really going to be working with Ron Rivera to ensure that they get the results that they need and everything? So, I'm most curious how all of that is going to be going down. Also, while we're talking about Redskins, shout out to Kirk Cousins. He showed me something. I ate my own words. I put out a tweet over the weekend saying when it counts the most, Kirk Cousins, he always chokes. And I talked from experience from seeing him play all those years here in Washington. And that was the running gag, which was when it counts the most and the chips are on the table and you got to cash them all in and it's all or nothing at all, Kirk Cousins always is a bust. And I tell you what, he went in there Sunday and he had two career defining throws for me. As long as I've been watching Cousins, he had two career defining throws that said, all right, he is everything that we expected him to be and then some. You know, the hell with the records, the hell with the, yeah, but you see when he's in prime time, the hell with all of that shit. For me, what he did that night, he showed me, hey, when he has a good offensive coordinator, when he has a great coach, when the salary and all that is taken care of and he don't have to worry about the whole bullshit year to year and all that, you give him a great O-line, the man has shown me that, okay, I need to silence my criticism. Like, he never was able to get into the post game and now he's able to get into it. So I'm happy for him. The only thing I can just say is I hope the consistency continues. Now, if you ask me, how's it going to be when he takes on the 49ers? Well, hey, peace out. Peace out, Kirk, right? That's all I got to say. Peace out. And then, of course, the Dallas Cowboys. I got to talk about my Cowboys for a hot minute there. So my number one question, why did we drag out for an entire week this bullshit with Jason Garrett? If we knew that at the end, Jason Garrett was going to be dismissed, then why did we drag this out? I don't know if it's maybe because Jerry Jones likes having the Cowboys constantly be in the media on a day-to-day basis or what, but something was kind of up when Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, they didn't do their weekly radio show appearances. They got their own radio shows and they do it at least 2 to 3 times a week. So when they didn't do that, you're kind of going, okay, kind of makes a little sense. They're not really trying to do these shows until they have something more concrete. Okay. And then you hear the reports that Jason Garrett had met with the Joneses 2, 3 freaking times. Maybe there was even going to be a 4th meeting. And you're like, what the hell is going on with all of these damn meetings? And so to find out that Jason Garrett was finally relieved of his duties, you're going, great. That's fantastic. Jerry Jones is finally moving on. I get that. But, when you look at Jason Garrett's record and everything. Now, look, I don't count 2010. I don't count 2010 because he basically went in there as the interim head coach after Wade Phillips was fired and everything, right? So I go from 2011 on. 2011, 8-8 record. 2012, 8-8. 2013, 8-8. 2014, 12-4. 2015, 4-12. 2016, 13-3. My favorite fucking year. 2017, 9-7. 2018, 10-6. 2019, 8-8, right? So, that's a lot of 8-8s that's going on there, right? But for him to finish his tenure with the Cowboys with an 85-67 record, with a 2-3 playoff record, never advancing to the divisional round, right? I mean, for me, this guy should have been cut a couple of years ago. Honestly, I think maybe he should have been cut around 2017. Me personally, I know some people were looking at it a little bit earlier. Some people were kind of looking as early as, maybe 2013 he should have been cut. But for me, I personally feel 2017. He really should have been cut. But, I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. With all that information that I just gave you guys, and he never advanced past the divisional round, right? You keep hitting that. Yeah, why should you be given an extension? Why should you be given a new contract? Like, seriously. So, you knew that was just going to be a matter of time. Now, for Mike McCarthy to be named the new Cowboys head coach. That I don't know. I don't know about that because I'm not picturing that. He doesn't have that fiery persona. He doesn't have that everybody gather around, rah, rah, rah. He doesn't have any of that going on. Yeah, we've seen him get upset, here and there, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that Mike Tomlin, that Jimmy Johnson, that Jim Harbaugh, right? He doesn't. John Harbaugh, for that matter. That Mike Ditka. He doesn't have any of that that's going on. So for me, it just feels like a slight tier upgrade of a Jason Garrett. I mean, the only thing that just makes me go, well, let's see what happens is the fact that, well, this guy won a Super Bowl. But then you kind of go, yeah, but he kind of won that Super Bowl about almost 10 years ago. NFL, what have you done for me lately, right? So I'm optimistic right now. If you got to forgive me. I mean, and I have no alliance to one team. There's multiple teams that I follow. These are some of the teams that I follow year to year. So I can tell you everything that's going on with them. But for me, probably the one thing that's glaring in my eyes is, well, not for nothing, Mike McCarthy, but you had one of the most elite quarterbacks in the league in Aaron Rodgers. And you were the coach for how many years? And you only got one Super Bowl to show for it? And I'm supposed to be excited that you're the new Cowboys head coach? How is he and Dak going to click? What's going to make his offensive line? How much is going to be retained from the old Jason Garrett regime once Mike McCarthy comes in there, right? Now, the one thing we all can agree upon is the way McCarthy kind of operated in Green Bay. McCarthy was kind of one of those, he wasn't the voice of the franchise, right? The voice of the franchise was freaking Aaron Rodgers and a couple other people. You go and look at all of your teams, there are certain people where you go, oh, that's the face, right? Like when you look at the Saints, you go, oh, Drew Brees, Sean Payton. Those are the first two names that come into your mind. When you go to the Steelers, you go, oh, Big Ben. When Antonio Brown was there, you said, oh, Big Ben. You even went with Mike Tomlin because his speeches, it's like the stuff of fucking legendary or whatever, right? So, yeah, McCarthy, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I gotta see it. I gotta actually see it. But yeah, a couple of things right there. Now, as far as who I got going to the Super Bowl, I've seen what I needed to see. I think it's going to be the I think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. And as far as who's going to come out of that on top, I'm going to say Ravens. I think Ravens is going to come out on top. But it's refreshing right now to see what currently is going on with the landscape of the NFL, because we are not only going to get new Super Bowl champions, but also at the same time, I think given the way things have panned out, old football fans are now going to be coming back to see what they missed, because typically, and I've heard the chatter over the years at the work office or at the bar, oh man, it's the fucking Patriots again? Man, fuck that shit. I'm not watching that. Man, fuck that, right? So I am going to make a prediction here. I already told you who I think is going to be going to the Super Bowl, but I'm going to make another prediction, which is when it comes to this year's Super Bowl, my prediction is for that, the ratings are going to be higher than last year's, because everybody is, hey, we got new guys. We got essentially new blood that's going to be going into it here, right? And even though the Ravens have been to the dance before a couple of times, what Lamar Jackson has been able to do and how he has been able to take the DMV means DC, Maryland, Virginia. That's how we abbreviate it out here. What he's been able to do in the DMV area and how the fans in the DMV area have just been, and then to see him in these opportunities where he's on prime time, be it on a Sunday or a Monday night or even a Thursday, but really your Sunday and your Monday night. And now the entire nation gets to see what this young man is able to do. I mean, he has really taken the Ravens and just the NFL by storm, what he's able to do. So it is going to be, I think, 49ers. I don't know why I keep going with 49ers. Forgive me. Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I can definitely see both teams putting up about 25 to 30 points a piece or something like that. I think it's going to be a nail biter of a game, but my prediction is it's going to do some really good, strong ass numbers. I think it's going to do phenomenally well, better than what they did last year. Mark my words on that. Just wait and see. All right, so a couple of wrestling little tidbits I want to get into as we get ready to wind it on down here, and we'll get into some Patreon shout outs in just a hot second. Kevin Nash, I only wanted to acknowledge this because he put out a statement, so that's why I'm mentioning this. But Kevin Nash, he had recently interacted with a fan on Twitter, and the fan had basically said to him, "Hey, what's going on with you, man?" Because he had saw that Kevin Nash appeared recently at a big time wrestling event back on January 3rd with Scott Hall, and they were talking to the live crowd and everything. So this one fan on Twitter had asked him, "Hey, who'd you wrestle at that event?" And Kevin Nash had, replied to him and said, "Father Time. I'm retired." And all of a sudden, everybody, all these websites, dirt sheets, and all this other shit, they just started running with this as news, right? Now, rewind it back a little bit. One of the last times that Kevin Nash had anything to do with being in the ring, you got to rewind it back to October of 2018. He actually did something at a big time wrestling event, of which my friend Joey Numbers from Wrestling Suit, and shout out to him, he actually was the referee for that match. And that was essentially, to my knowledge, like the last time. If Kevin Nash did something after that, I don't know anything about it. I just remember he did win a title at that event, but sadly, I really didn't keep track of what had went down after that. But essentially, that was one of the last times he actually was in the ring. And he wrestled about 10 times. What's that? Since like 2015, with the last WWE match being at the 2014 Royal Rumble. So yeah, it's been a bit inconsistent here and there, but yeah, he actually had to put out a statement, and he had said, "How, after wrestling once in 2 years as a favor, is it news I'm retired? I had a knee replacement and stem cell therapy to heal my wounds. Now I'm in the best physical shape as far as function than I've ever been since 1986 when I destroyed my right knee. I worked 29 years on one leg." So I get where Kevin Nash is coming from, and I get the whole, why is this news? I've only been making sporadic appearances here and there. Well, why is it I am the only way I can kind of defend why the media outlets are running with this is any news is news in their estimation, because I'm looking at it from that standpoint, because there were times over the years where I had the opportunity to either report on some exclusive news that I had came across, whether I was covering an event or I interviewed somebody or what have you, or I was working with people behind the scenes on a few wrestling websites. And that's the mentality. Oh, hey, that's news. Okay. And hey, look, it's that name. Okay, let's run with that. Right. And sometimes it's just all about, hey, we got a scoop, or hey, this is news, let's go. And I also wouldn't be surprised if you just had some people that just kind of looked at this news that came about and said, well, wow, so it's just like that. No big swan song, no right? And I guess you have some people that just kind of felt, well, man, given the shape that he's in right now, because he looks like he can still go, why not have one last run, one last bon voyage before you head off into the sunset and everything? And I'm with some people that are thinking like that. But at the same time, one of the things that you got to remember is Kevin Nash is 60 years old. So I know he's been looking gray for a good minute now for a lot of you guys, right? Because honestly, he's always looked gray, right? But he's 60 years old. May not have the body of a 60-year-old, but he's 60. So yeah, people, I'm sorry, what did you think Kevin Nash was going to continue to be going out there year after year after year doing whatever? And nah, man, the age that he's at right now, he's got to take it easy. He's got to be fucking smart, right? So you think all them surgeries that he's had over the years, and finally his body is starting to get back to the point where he's feeling pretty damn good again, and now all of a sudden he's supposed to be going in there and taking serious bumps and all this other shit? Hell no, he ain't doing that. Kevin Nash ain't enough money. Well, unless it's that Saudi Arabia money, then maybe. But you know, I think honestly, if somebody would have just asked him straight up, one of the major wrestling news media outlets, I think honestly, if somebody would have just went to him straight up and said, hey, we haven't seen you wrestle in a while. What's going on? Is everything okay? Are you choosing to not wrestle anymore? I'm sure he would have politely given them a statement and said, yeah, well, you know, here's what's going on. I pretty much consider myself retired. You know, what I did, blah, blah, blah. It was just a favor for somebody. You know how that is. And that would have been the end of it. So, I don't know. To each its own, but I just thought that was kind of silly there. Matt Hardy, reportedly, his WWE deal is going to be expiring on March 1st. And it's being said that there is a little bit of a negotiation hurdle that doesn't revolve around money, but that supposedly it's about the creative direction of his character. And that pretty much could be make or break right there as far as whether or not he's going to re-sign with the WWE. If you've been following him on social media and all that, you know he's been doing his Free the Delete series, which is fantastic. I love it. I love it. And he's basically been teasing the Broken Hardy character coming back and all. So, look, I mean, for all the money in the world that WWE could potentially be offering him, to have an opportunity to do the broken Matt Hardy character once again, but sadly, you're only doing it for about 2-3 months. Okay, really, what's the long-term plan? 6 months. What's the long-term plan? 10 months or whatever like that. That's great if you're going to do something for that first month, that first 3 months. But when you are talking 6 to 10 months, 6 to 12, 6 to 15 or whatever, long term, what really is the plan here, right? And I mean, look, Matt Hardy, not for nothing, but he's probably in the best shape of his entire career right now. The man is 45 years of age, and it looks like Father Time has done wonders for him. Is he moving around just a tad bit slow because of all the years, the type of style and the matches that he was doing and everything? Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. But, for me personally, I hope that Matt Hardy does not re-sign with the WWE. I hope that just from a creative standpoint, he's got the whole rights to the broken gimmick and all of that. I would just love to see him do what he was doing before and have fun on the indies again. I would love to see him maybe even do some stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling here and there. I want him to stay away from ROH. I just don't like some of the bullshit that's going on with them. Could I even see a broken Matt Hardy in AEW? I think that would be fucking fun as shit. Especially if you were to have a broken Matt Hardy and a Chris Jericho collide. I think that would be a very interesting concept that you want to talk about some fun shit. Get Jericho and Matt Hardy in the same room together. I think they would make some pretty memorable magic happen, right? So I would have no problem with a Matt Hardy and an AEW as well, but I hope that if the reports are true, just assuming if the reports are true, then, seriously, like I said before, okay, that 6 to 8 months, okay, you've done what you were able to do there with your broken gimmick under the WWE. Now you're just pretty much continuing to go out there and be nothing more than an enhancement dude. And okay, well, you're getting paid good money. You cool with that? Because if you're not cool with that, then okay, well then you got to figure out, what do you really want to do? And you also got to think about the kids, the newest addition thrown into the whole mix. Do you really want to continue to be on the road like that? Even if it's at a reduced schedule, you're still spending a significant time away from the family. So how exactly, right? So it's a lot. There's a lot of factors that go into that. So, but I'm sure you guys would agree with some of those points that I had made. Also, got some Impact Wrestling news for you guys. So Impact Wrestling, they're going to be doing 2 events that's going to be coming up in a few days. They've got the Bash at the Brewery that's going to be happening at the Freetail Brewery in San Antonio, Texas on January the 10th. That will be streaming on Impact Plus. So check that out. Some of the matches that's going to be happening on that card, you got OVE taking on Rich Swann and Tessa Blanchard and Willie Mack and Brian Cage. You've got Kongo Kong, who will be facing Falabala. The X Division champion Ace Austin will be taking on the Rascals Wentz. And you've got the Impact Knockouts champion Taya Valkyrie facing Jordan Grace. Again, that's going to be for... no, it doesn't look like it's going to be for the Knockouts Championship. But then again, the card could change. So keep note of that. Then follows up with the Hard to Kill Impact Wrestling event that's going to be happening at the Bomb Factory in Dallas, Texas, again on January the 12th. That's a pay-per-view event. Catch it on pay-per-view, catch it also on Fight TV. Your card for that one, you've got Impact champion Sami Callihan taking on Tessa Blanchard. Impact Knockouts champion Taya Valkyrie taking on Jordan Grace, ODB. That is going to be for the Knockouts champion. I remember that much for certain. Impact X Division champion Ace Austin will take on Trey Miguel. The Impact Tag Team champions, the North, will be in action against Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Rob Van Dam will be taking on Brian Cage. Michael Elgin will be facing Eddie Edwards. Moose will be taking on Rhino. And Ken Shamrock will be facing Madman Fulton. So check that out. That should be pretty good for those of you that need some alternatives there. And I know New Japan Pro Wrestling, they did their thing over the weekend with Wrestle Kingdom and all that. I sadly did not check it out. I was on vacation. That is respectfully why. And for me, I didn't start getting back into the groove of things as far as show prepping and all that until Sunday. And it's weird because normally when it comes to those Wrestle Kingdoms, either it's happening at a time where it's affecting my work schedule, or it's happening at a time when I'm in the middle of a vacation and I really don't want to break it to check out wrestling, right? But I will say this with regards to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think it's rather fucked up that, assuming the reports are true, and you got Dave Meltzer reporting what he's reporting, and as I always like to say, you take it with a grain of salt, but it doesn't sound that far-fetched, because we've seen how Impact Wrestling, Anthem, and its owner, Ed Nordholm, can be Queen Petty. But the report that's being put out there is New Japan Pro Wrestling, they did not want to have any type of a partnership with Impact Wrestling / Anthem. And as a result of that, that is why New Japan Pro Wrestling was pulled immediately from Access TV. Now, originally, the report is that New Japan Pro Wrestling was supposed to be on Access TV until early 2021. But once Access TV had got sold to Anthem and Steve Harvey, because Steve Harvey has a little piece of that as well, then it was a case where, okay, well, let's shake things up a little bit. So that is why, for those of you wondering what the hell is going on with New Japan on Access, now you know what's going on. So it's quite sad. I hope that New Japan Pro Wrestling will find a new home in a timely manner. Hopefully, it takes just a couple of months, 3 at most. I think BN Sports would be a great network for them to go to. I think, given the fact that you've already got wrestling on there, such as MLW and everything, I think it would be great if they were able to go on that type of a network, or who knows if maybe they could. I don't think they would. I would personally like to see them do a little something with TBS. I could see something like that coming about. I'm just trying to think what other. Somebody was telling me, what about True TV? I'm not seeing True TV. I don't think anything like that. I'm not finding that feasible. But something like BN Sports, I think that would really, really fit them pretty well. Maybe you could get a little bit of love from some of the ABC affiliate stations, because I know on the weekends, and you ROH fans can definitely back me up on this, depending on where you live, you have some ABC affiliate stations late Saturday night going into Sunday morning, they'll actually show New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it's possible that, maybe under the right syndication deal, maybe you could do something like that. But your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, Sergio, I saw that about Jericho talking about wanting to work with New Japan, having AEW work with New Japan. I know that Jericho was speaking from the heart, but whether or not New Japan is actually going to sit down and they're going to do something with AEW, that remains to be seen. I mean, only time will tell, right? Look, hey, that'd be great. But whether or not something like that is going to happen, we need to remember New Japan Pro Wrestling at one point, a lot of those guys that's in AEW now, they were in New Japan, and, they're a little bit hurt still. They're a little bit salty over how things had played out. And then, not to mention, factor in how things fell apart there with the New Japan Pro Wrestling ROH relationship. Now look at how New Japan Pro Wrestling had got fucked over by Anthem. I honestly would not blame the people at New Japan Pro Wrestling if they said, man, we've been burned so many times. It's really hard to trust motherfuckers. Let's just worry about ourselves. Let's just do our own fucking thing. Fuck all of these people. There's nothing but noise right now. And let's just go do our own thing. And, maybe we can try to work with lesser promotions. And I wouldn't blame them if that's how they're feeling right now. It would be no different than if you keep entering a really bad relationship and one person verbally abuses the hell out of you. You take with so much and eventually you get out of it. Then the next relationship you get into, it's a person that's beating you, right? And you take with only so much of that, right? And you get the point that I'm making. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling, we can all be in agreement. They've gotten royally fucked over the years, with the latest one, the shit going down with Anthem. So, do you really want to, that's great what Jericho had said, and that's real nice, but with that track record of a history and them getting hurt so many times, I don't know, man. I would not blame them for let's just keep to ourselves. Let's just worry about us. And it's kind of sad because, it's no different than in the podcasting world. You got a really bunch of really cool, podcast dudes that's out there that mean well. And some of them, they love doing collaborations and all this other shit. And then some real salty, fucked up shit goes down. And the next thing you know, it's, people get all defensive and all of that other shit, Yeah, Chris Jericho could want to put the AEW Heavyweight Championship on the line in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But guess what? If New Japan Pro Wrestling don't want to have anything to do with that, right? Trust me, I heard what Jericho said. That much I do know. I did see his press conference. His whole thing was, hey, put the politics to the side, put the hurt feelings to the side. It's a good opportunity here to make a lot of good money, good press and all that other shit, but like I said, for me, this is what I'm going to be paying attention to. I want reality. And that's my message to everybody else that's looking at this and going, ooh. My whole thing is, that sounds good. But until it becomes a reality, the only thing you can do is look at it as what if, is look at it as a dream. If it were to go down, if arrangements were made where these guys can put their differences aside and they can continue to do business with each other, then to that I say, good. It would be nice to see more wrestling promotions that, team up, similar to what Impact Wrestling is doing, working with all of these other promotions. Wow, Women of Wrestling being one of those promotions as well, right? So, but yeah, it is what it is. I don't want to go any further on that topic, because if I go any more into that topic, it's going to be long-winded and I would be redundant. So I pretty much made all of my points on that one. But on that note, we got about almost 2 hours of a show. I do want to get into some Patreon shout outs as we get ready to wrap it up here. Love my Patreon members. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. $5 a month. You guys can check out bonus audio and video content, great majority of which you won't be able to check out anywhere else. You get to check out some exclusive series such as our 30 with Lee, hosted by myself and Tammy. We got some cool stuff that's going to be coming your way. We also got a new Wrestling with the Topics. Love that series that we've been doing. We've been doing both of those at about the same time for almost a year now. And a lot of great content, man, that's on there. And shout out to Patreon members Justin Ripstock. Shout out to John Krauser. Also, shout out to the one, the only Sean Kinter, Freddie R. Freddie, Tony Bing Gaming. Want the latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel Super War. Check out Tony Bing Gaming. He's got a great YouTube channel and he's got a Patreon wall as well. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. And shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Appreciate everybody. All right, so quick programming note. The next edition of the RCWR Show is going to be dropping on Wednesday, January the 8th, 2020. We'll be coming on as soon as NXT and AEW goes off the air. So we'll be dipping a little bit more all over the place. Aside from talking about the fall off from those two shows, we'll also be talking some more wrestling headlines and all that. Maybe some non-wrestling related stuff, depending on what all happens. So that should be a fun show. Check that out. And we got some more plans in store. I told you guys at the top how we're doing what we're doing here. And yeah, that's not all we got planned. I think we're going to officially begin it next week. There's going to be a Patreon exclusive show that's going to be covering NWA Fallout. And anytime NWA does a pay-per-view, we will make that be a free-for-all, I do believe. But we'll have a Patreon exclusive NWA recap. That'll just be an audio version show only. You'll be able to check that out on Patreon. And that's not the only surprise that we got in store. There's a couple of more, but we're going to slowly have all that trickle in the coming weeks for you guys. So stay tuned for that. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Support the podcast. Check it out on demand, on the downloads for all your favorite listening platforms. You appreciate the shows. Can't stress it enough. Do go out of your way. Leave a rating and review. Helps a lot, especially more people discover the show with great ease. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR Show. Those of you that's going to be waiting for the audio version of this, I don't really have to do that much. I just got to pretty much slap on the intro, and I'm pretty much good to go. So give me about 45 minutes and I will have this ready to go. Appreciate everybody that was interacting in the live chat. Everybody knows who they are. Man, shout out to those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. Until this Wednesday night, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios.